Hello folks, and welcome to the Midsummer 2024 plot tour. Can you believe it? We've had the longest day, and I think Midsummer's Day might be today or tomorrow, I'm not sure. So this is my very first plot tour for 2024. It might even be the last of the day. I tend not to do too many. Anyway, there's a bit of variation, not only for you, but me also. I'm going to walk in reverse that I normally do as we go around the plot. So come on, let's get going. First of all, we'll take a look at this golden delicious apple tree. I'd like to give a particular shout out to my mate Woody over in the Cumbrian Homestead YouTube channel. He featured earlier on this pheromone trap or something very similar. I got in touch with him and I actually purchased one, and I must say it's done tremendously good. I can see a lot of the codling moth in the bottom, and a quick look at the fruit what's on here. There's no damage at all. Usually I've got bored holes in already at this time of the year, and these work at quite a distance, and I think the traps, actually the pheromones, work around every 3 or 4 months. You need to change them, but so far so good, well worth trying. Anyway, I've got plenty of fruit on here. Hopefully we've missed the June drop now, or most of it, so it's looking good. Let's move farther along the plot. This is now become my flower bed. It was the asparagus. I'm still in two minds. I don't think I'm going to actually convert it back to asparagus bed. The dahlias in here, they've been in 3 or 4 years. I've not dug them up. I just give them a bit of mulch in the winter, and them coming up bigger and stronger each year. The sweet peas Hilda's mix are just coming into flower now. Give them another couple of days and I think we'll be cooking with gas. So that's the flower bed. You'll probably see a bit more of these in a month's time when I'm actually all in flower. Anyway, moving farther down. The strawberries are into full production now. I've already had 2 or 3 large punnets off, and there's plenty more still to come. I think this is the 2nd year of these, so next year I'll be doing some more runners and replacing the whole lot. There's a variety called Cambridge Favourite, and given the winters are not too bad, they'll actually stay green all the way through the season. And while we're here, we'll take a look at this, the pear tree, the Williams. Again, lots of fruit on. I didn't actually prune this, it's getting a bit out of hand, but maybe at the end of the year I'll be giving this a little snip. But nonetheless, still lots of fruit on. As you can see, I've got these metal poles up. Last year it was that laden with fruit, it actually bent the branches down, and I was thinking that because of the crop we had last year, it'd have a poor year this year. But it's not let me down, still plenty of fruit on it. Onto this apple tree, and this is the Egremont russet. Still lots of fruit on, although it's much lighter than this one, so then probably I need just golf ball size at the moment. Again, this is getting quite out of hand. There's fruit at the top I'm not going to be able to reach. So I think both the end of this year, both trees are going to get a good pruning. Last but not least of the fruit trees is my good old cherry. Lots of fruit on again, although I've lost quite a lot with the June drop, and also the birds are starting to take them now. I'm going to put a few sleeves over some of the branches to try and save some of the fruit for me, although I'm still not sure if I'm going to actually take this tree out because it's actually in the way of my compost bins and I'm having to work around it. It's a shame really, but it's that big now and I'm finding it difficult to crop and protect the fruit with the birds, so we'll see. It'll be a hard decision whatever at the end of the season. Looking at the raspberries, these are the Autumn Bliss, the autumn fruiting variety. And if you remember earlier on in the year, I converted these into this metal VEGEGA raised bed, and they seem to be doing tremendously well. I still want to put a framework around this, probably towards the back, with some sheep netting on to tie them in. And I've also actually planted a grapevine down the one end, and I'll run the couple of rods over the top of that. But that's something I'll probably do later in the season. Let's move into the greenhouse. Into the allotment greenhouse, things are moving on. They're all doing very well. All the tomatoes have got plenty of fruits coming on them now. All these are inside the AUTOPOT system. I do need a bit of side shoot removal on some of them. Looking up to the grapes, there's lots of bunches on there. I've already pruned these ones and they need doing again, thinning out again. So I'll give them a second crop. Looking down the back in the quad grows, I've got 2 cucumbers one side and 2 on the other. We had one little fatality in the corner. I did replace it and that's gone again, but not to worry. The other ones there's a Pachysandra and 2 mini munch. They've all got plenty of fruit showing. In fact, the one in the corner there, I'll be picking probably in the next 2 or 3 days. So that's all the tomatoes are doing very well. Looking down the bottom here, we've got on the front row, we've got some peppers and they're showing signs of fruit now, although they're a little bit slow. And along the back, we got aubergines, and right in the corner, we got a little melon there called Sugar Baby, although it's not showing much growth at all. It's very, very slow. This is my bean bed, and I've only done runner beans in this year, variety called Benchmaster, and they're just about on the way up now. Again, really, really slow. In between, I made use of the available space and put my lettuce, and that's grown absolutely massive. I can't eat it quick enough. In fact, I'll have to give some away. But I like the idea of this. Surprisingly, when I first put this bed up, quite a lot of people suggested I'd be hounded by slugs, especially by putting the drain covers on top of the slabs. But I've had no issues at all, and as you can see, the lettuce is doing more than good. Into the potatoes now. The Charlottes are all into flower, so I guess I could start having a delve into the buckets and see what's available. The 2 rows of the main crop, the blight resistant ones, I'm putting a bit of growth on, but obviously they're not as far as advanced as these. But filling the soil, that mulching with the straw really has paid off, because I've just had a delve down and the soil is still very, very moist, and I haven't watered these for quite a long while. So we'll be checking these out. I'll give it another couple of weeks maybe. So I'll just move on to here. We've got the parsnips. I was late sowing these, and I've only done 24 stations this year, but checking now, every station has germinated. There's at least 3 seeds come up in each one, which I'm very, very pleased about. I'll probably give them another couple of weeks before I start thinning them out and sorting them out. But I think putting this protection over the top really does help, especially with the cold weather we've had and the rain and all. It does actually reduce the effect on the seedlings. And in the front here, I've got, I don't know, 15 or so. There's a Celeriac. Again, these are very, very slow. I know we've been suffering with poor weather the last 2 or 3 weeks in the UK, particularly with cold nights, and some of the plants have suffered, as you'll see later on. And finally, on this bed here, we've got the peas, 3 rows or 3 sets of Hearst green shaft. These are the first one. They're just coming into flower now, so they will be uncropping, and the others are gradually, as you can see, in different stages. On here, I've got some, these are Swede. These are a variety called Helena, and I've just sown these in a couple of rows. Germination is very, very good, so I need to do a little bit of thinning out on here. And finally, bringing up the end here is the celery. This is the Latham self-blanching. It looks a bit paler than usual. Normally this is much greener. Again, I can only put it down to the bad weather, but I'm still keeping this really well watered. The soil is very well drained, but it actually holds the moisture at the bottom because I trenched this with manure before the plants actually go in. So that's the end of this bed. Let's move next door. This big bed here is my Alliums, and as you can see, it's covered with the ultra-fine insect mesh. I will put a bit of B-roll footage in underneath so I actually can see what the state of the plants are. I have been inside recently and done a bit of weeding, and all the plants are looking good. The front row up the top, the Kelseys, they're just starting to bulb up nicely now. Then also I've got the 8-ounce onions, the Tough Ball and Vento around here. And in the middle, most of these are the banana shallot types, the long red Florence and the Lister. And right down the very bottom end here, these was the shallots. I've actually harvested those, and you'll see those in a future video coming up. So this bed is now clear. I've actually given this a little top dressing of superphosphates. I've watered that in, and within the next week or so I'll be putting out the leeks. Into the Brassica cage, and things are starting to move on now. Right along the back, as usual, I've got the rows of Brussels sprouts. There's 15 plants in total, 3 rows of 5, variety of crispus. And in this bed here, these are predominantly cauliflowers, 2 or 3 different varieties. I've got different results on here. I've had 1 or 2 actually fail. I don't know what's caused that. The ground seems moist enough. With brassicas, I tend not to water them too much. Once they get in and start growing, I'll let them fend to themselves, because then the roots move down slowly. But in the next bed along here, we've got these different varieties of cabbage, and in the front I had a bit of spare space when I was planting out. I put some lettuce in, and in the middle there I got turnip. They're actually ready for harvest now. They're just a nice little tennis ball size, so I'll be picking those quite soon. And moving on to this final bed here, in front of the last load of sprouts, I've got a couple of rows of Celery. That's a variety called Iron Man. And then right at the front here, we have a few different varieties of kohlrabi. Into this bed now, and these are 8 varieties of outdoor tomatoes. Considering the weather we've had, I'm not actually too unhappy with the way these have performed. Most of them now have got showing plenty of signs of flowers and fruit, although say I'd expect them to be a little bit higher. I have started feeding these about once every 2 weeks. In front of them, I've got a couple of the Adolf favourites, the courgettes. They're showing plenty of flowers now. In front of them are the French beans, the ones called Ferrari, and I must say, in 3 or 4 weeks they've hardly moved. I don't know whether it's a cold weather or what, but I've had a look. There's no damage on them all, it's just that they're not growing. Moving on to this middle bed now, along the back here we've got a couple of aubergines. These are called, I think these are called Black Beauty. In the middle here I did have a butternut squash, but the cold nights actually destroyed this. Down, gone. So fortunately another plot holder had got some spares, and I've been given another plant, but I've put that in the greenhouse and I'm going to hold it in there for at least another couple of weeks. Allegedly we've got a heat wave coming on, but I think I'm going to wait to actually see it. There's a little gap in here, and I've got some more lettuce in the greenhouse ready for pricking out. They're going to go in there. Couple of rows of spring onions, then we're doing okay. 1 row of pak choy, that's bringing up nicely there. It needs probably thinning out a little bit. And right at the very front I've got a couple of rows of radish, and then we're ready for picking more or less. And this is the main tomato bed. All these are blight resistant varieties. Some flowers are starting to come on, again slow. Need 1 or 2 need tying in with side shoots being removed. But it's the weather, I guess. Right in the middle I've got 3 or 4 rows of beetroot. They've thickened up nicely. The middle rows I'm going to be using as quite large ones, ready for slicing and pickling. But the rows on the outside, I've planted those quite closely together, and I'm going to be taking those as a little golf ball size directly onto my salads. I'm going to look into the Vegepod now, and I put turnips in there. These have mostly got bolted and gone to seed, although we can use these in stir fries, stews and whatever. A couple of rows of spring onions, they're just starting to pick up now. You can see the lettuce has started to bolt as well, so this actually does increase the temperature quite a lot with this cover on. Although it lets light in and rain in, it does actually increase the temperature, so it's well worth considering the more sensitive plants to put in here as well. And again, I've got some more oak leaf red lettuce there coming on nicely, be ready for picking soon. These 4 tanks here is where I had the garlic and elephant garlic in. As you can see, they've gone. I've lifted those and put them into the coal frame. More about those in the next episode. These are just a few turnips that I'm in here now. I'll see what I can rescue out of them, then I'll tidy these up. Moving on to this one, again, this was full of garlic, so I've lifted it. In its place, I've given the bed a quick flick over and put in 6 January King cabbage that was kindly donated by another plot holder. They've been watered in, got the net over, And I've left enough gap in here to replant the garlic again in the September, so just let them tick over. Last but not least, let's look at the carrots. And this is the carrot tank. I've only actually sown one so far. This was sown on the 21st of May, and I'm very happy with the germination. I should say I've got about 95-98% germination in the stations. I'm at a stage now where they need thinning out, but I tend to do my thinning out very early morning or late at night, and that's when to reduce the risk of the carrot fly infection. This variety is called Swede Candle, and I've got another tank here, and I'll probably be sowing that one in the next week or so. Into the greenhouse now, and things are looking much better. They get quite a little microclimate in here. It's sheltered from the winds, and we get sun from about 10 o'clock for the rest of the day. Look at my hanging baskets. Need a bit of deadheading doing, but these are on an auto watering system. But the begonias have done quite well, and I've had a nice display from my roses so far as well. Behind here I've got a cherry tomato in a hanging basket. I think that's called Tumbler, and that's got lots of fruit on. Final stop off, I'm going to have a look into the garden greenhouse. Right, our last stop, as I said before, this is the garden greenhouse, and these are my auto wicking systems that I built a few years ago. Got my peppers in. You might recall at the beginning of the year I got battered with the whitefly infestation, and these really suffered. In fact, I thought I'd going to lose quite a few. But good old SB Plant Invigorator came to the rescue, got rid of them, and they've picked up nicely. In fact, we've got one or two fruit showing. There's still scars showing where the pest was on at the beginning of the year, but I don't think it's knocked them back too much. Some around the back there are not as advanced as the others, but hopefully with a bit of feeding. Again, like the others, I give these a feed once every 2 weeks, and I use a maxi crop feed to feed them. But they're doing fine. Right, that's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the plot tour. Say it's not as advanced as I expected to be, but like the rest of you, we've had some really bad weather over the last month here in the UK, so we've got to accept what we get. So until next time, thanks very much for watching. See you soon. Bye for now.